Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my English podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm really happy you're here today. If you're someone who is learning English and sometimes feels stuck because you don't have a teacher, this episode is for you. Many people think that without a teacher it's impossible to learn English, but that's not true. Today I'm going to share how I learned English without a teacher and give you practical tips so you can do the same. Learning English doesn't always require expensive classes or a private tutor. If you're motivated and you know how to practice, you can make real progress on your own. And the best part is, I'll keep the language simple and clear so that everyone, even beginner learners, can follow along and learn something new. So grab a notebook, relax, and let's dive into today's topic: how I learned English without a teacher. When I was younger, I really wanted to learn English, but I didn't have the chance to go to an English class. There were no teachers around me, and my family couldn't afford private lessons. At first I thought maybe it was impossible, but then I told myself, if I really want this, I have to try to do it on my own. It was a little scary at the beginning, because I didn't know where to start. I only knew a few basic words like hello, thank you, and goodbye, and I couldn't make full sentences. I remember watching people speak English in movies and feeling lost, but at the same time I was excited because I wanted to understand. In the beginning I made a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I put words in the wrong order or pronounced them incorrectly. But I didn't stop. I used every chance I had. I listened to English songs, read simple words on product labels, and repeated what I heard in movies. I was basically creating my own small learning environment even without a teacher. And I realized that my real teachers were motivation and practice. Every time I learned a new word, I felt proud, and that feeling gave me energy to keep going. I didn't wait for the perfect time or the perfect teacher. I just started with what I had. That's my message to you too. Don't wait. Even if you don't have a teacher, you can start today by taking one small step, like learning 5 new words or listening to a short English video. I began very small and didn't try to study everything at once. First, I focused on simple words like numbers, colors, and everyday objects. I kept a small notebook, and every day I wrote down 5 new English words. Pronunciation was not easy at first because I didn't know if I was saying the words correctly. So I used 2 tricks. I listened carefully to how words sounded in movies or songs, and I used an online dictionary with audio. I listened and repeated many times until I felt confident. I wanted to build a habit, not just study randomly, and 5 words a day didn't feel too hard. I learned that it's better to learn a little every day than to try to learn too much at once and feel tired or stressed, because daily learning helps you remember better. I also wrote short sentences with the new words. For example, if I learned the word apple, I wrote, I like an apple, or the apple is red. These sentences were very simple, but they helped me connect the words together. And I didn't worry if they were not perfect, because what mattered was practicing. Listening was one of the most important parts of my journey. At first it was really hard. When I listened to English movies or songs, I understood almost nothing, and that was frustrating, but I didn't give up. I kept listening even if I only understood 1 or 2 words, and I told myself, this is training for my ears. It's like going to the gym. At first you feel weak, but if you keep practicing, you get stronger. I started with children's cartoons and short YouTube videos because they use simple English and the speakers talk more slowly. Later, I used subtitles. When I watched a movie, I turned on English subtitles and listened and read at the same time. That helped me connect the sound of a word with how it looks in writing. I didn't just listen passively. I paused the video, said the sentence out loud, and then played it again. Sometimes I even recorded myself to compare with the original. It wasn't perfect, but it made me more confident, and slowly my brain got used to the sounds of English. Speaking, however, was the hardest part for me. I was shy and afraid of making mistakes, but I realized that if I don't open my mouth, I will never improve. So I decided to practice speaking every day, even if I was alone. I had three main methods. First, I practiced in front of the mirror and tried to say simple sentences like, "My name is Jason," or "Today I feel happy." And looking at the mirror made me feel like I was talking to someone, which built my confidence and even improved my body language. Second, I recorded my voice on my phone, making short messages describing my day or talking about something I saw. And then I listened to my recordings and compared them with how native speakers said similar sentences, which made me more aware of my pronunciation and mistakes. Third, I talked to myself during the day. If I was cooking, I would say in English, "Now I cut the onion," or "The water is boiling." It sounds funny, but it helped me think in English. Later, when I felt more confident, I used language exchange apps to practice with real people. But in the beginning, talking to myself was the best practice, and it reminded me that I didn't need to wait for a teacher or a partner to speak. Reading and writing were also part of my self-study plan. For reading, I started very small. I didn't open big English novels right away. Instead, I read short and simple texts like children's books, online articles, news headlines, and product labels. Often I didn't understand every word, but I tried to guess the meaning from the context, and I kept my notebook nearby to write down new vocabulary. I also read out loud, which let me practice both reading and speaking at the same time. For writing, I began with one or two sentences about my day, like "I woke up early today," or "I ate rice for lunch," and later I turned that into a daily diary. My grammar wasn't perfect, but writing gave me confidence and helped me see progress. I also wrote simple comments in English on social media or YouTube videos, which was a great way to use my English in the real world. So here's a quick summary of that stage. Start reading small and simple texts. Keep a notebook for new words. Try reading aloud. And write short sentences or a daily diary. Over time, this will improve your reading and writing a lot. And remember, the most important thing is not perfection. It's practice. Of course, the journey was not always easy. One big challenge was not having feedback. When I spoke or wrote something, I didn't know if it was correct, and sometimes I worried that I was learning the wrong way. To deal with that, I checked myself using online resources like grammar websites, good dictionaries, and pronunciation apps. And later, when I met English speakers online, I asked them politely to correct me. Another challenge was motivation. Sometimes I felt lonely because I was studying by myself, and sometimes I lost energy when progress was slow. But I reminded myself why I was learning English. I wanted more opportunities in life, and that gave me strength to continue. I discovered a secret. Consistency is more powerful than motivation. Some days I felt excited to learn, but other days I didn't. On those days, I still tried to do something small, like reading one page or listening to a 5-minute podcast. I also made small goals, such as, "This week I will learn 20 new words," or "I will watch one English video every day." Reaching those small goals gave me confidence, and that confidence gave me motivation to continue. I celebrated progress too. If I could understand a movie scene without subtitles, I smiled and told myself, well done. If I could write a diary entry, I felt proud. These little celebrations kept me motivated. In short, don't wait for motivation. Build habits, set small goals, and celebrate your progress. Now let me share some simple tips you can use if you're learning English without a teacher. Start with what you have. Don't wait for perfect books or expensive courses. Use free resources like YouTube videos, podcasts, and even English labels on food packages. Practice every day, even if it's just 10 minutes. Short daily practice is more powerful than studying for hours once a week, because daily practice builds a habit and habits build fluency. Use all four skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, so your learning is balanced. For example, listen to a podcast, read a short article, write 2 sentences, and speak them out loud. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are proof that you are learning, and your mistakes are your teachers. Make English part of your life. Change your phone language to English. Write your shopping list in English, or think in English when you're walking, because these small actions make a big difference. If you follow even 2 or 3 of these tips, you'll see progress faster than you expect. If I could go back in time and start over, I would speak more from the very beginning. At first, I was too shy and afraid of mistakes, so I delayed practicing speaking. But if I had started earlier, I would have improved faster. I would also use more online resources right away because there are so many free apps, videos, and podcasts that can help beginners. And I would remind myself to celebrate small victories every day, because learning English alone can feel slow. But small wins make a big difference. So here's the key takeaway: start speaking early and use all the tools available to you. Don't wait for the perfect moment or perfect resources. Thank you so much for listening to my English podcast. I hope you feel encouraged. Remember, you don't need a teacher to start. Motivation, practice, and consistency are your best teachers. Start small, practice every day, don't fear mistakes, and use the resources around you. Step by step, you'll see progress. And most importantly, enjoy the process, because learning English is a journey, not a race. Celebrate your small wins and keep moving forward. And if you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and keep practicing your English every day. See you in the next episode, and remember, you can learn English on your own. Just start today.